decided to ignore their residents, current 8,130 residents, and plan to build on this area.
So we're going to start with we've got Mike and Mark, and then Jan.
Thank you very much. At the meeting that was held at the Orwell Hotel, I think it was February of this year, I actually said that the position is we are where we are regarding the local plan, and that what I wanted to do, and I gather some other members of the council want to do, is to get the best we possibly can for Felixstowe, and I sincerely mean that. I think building on Eastward Ho is not in the best interest of this community. It is a very asset to our community. And I'd just like to remind everybody here that before the local plan was produced, the then Suffolk Coastal District Council commissioned a group called Locke Associates. And they actually did an entire survey of the town indicating what was best for it, what could be built on it. And one of the things they actually highlighted was the countryside around it was so unique, it had to be preserved for the use of everywhere. Anyway, we are where we are with the local plan, but when it comes to Eastward Ho, I think, we really do need to think very strongly about it. That said, as I said right at the start, we have a housing crisis. We need social housing. We own that land, and I firmly believe that we could use some of it for a limited amount of social housing together with market rate housing, and that I hope we can reproduce. The other thing is, I'd really like to understand what people think Eastward Ho is. We know what the Grove is, that's obvious. But what is Eastward Ho? For me, as a child playing, it was the whole of that area. The area that now is some of it agricultural land. The paddock, I was never very sure about it because it was always fenced off. But that, I understand, is in the district council's ownership anyway. But it was the whole of that area. And are we being told now that the recreational area, does that mean the whole thing? Or is it just the bit in the middle where the football pitches are? I still am not clear, in my mind, what the district council refers to. So perhaps we could have an answer on that, and I hope that's answered your question, sir. I think in the best interest of this community, we preserve the best we can of Eastward Ho. The Grove, I never think, was under any danger of being developed at all. No.
When I was on the district council and the town council and the planning committee, we went through the early part of this process, and I spoke to Mike. We can't find where it is at the moment, and I don't have access to town council papers, but the planning committee at the time wanted to ensure that the Grove was protected. And we put a report in, part of this consultation, to say that we wanted the Grove protected. So I'm disappointed to see that the little bit that's there, it's not a little bit if you live there, but I'm also concerned, and I'll touch on it, I won't go into it now, but I'm the chair of the patient participation group for the Grove. But I'm there quite a bit. I don't think the access road that we're looking to go on to the Grove, I know they're going to do some changes, would be adequate because of the roundabout that it goes up to is very, very busy. So I just really, because I know we're short of time, I just wanted to say that as a town council going back to 2016 to 2020, cross-party, to be fair, we did say we wanted the whole of the Grove preserved.
Thank you very much. I think we can clarify quite a few of those points, and especially Mr. Nicholson, there isn't a third loss of houses. We have decided that, I've got the member for housing here, there won't be any houses built on Eastward Ho. The Grove was always protected, It was never going to be built on. And the access road that goes on the south of Eastward Ho that goes up to the side bit. There will be a road up there, so there may well be one line of social housing going along there, so that may be, who knows, maybe 18 houses in a terrace. But I have it from Councillor Bevan here that there will be no houses. And when we say the playing fields, we don't mean the pitches, we mean the whole of the green area at the top. So I think we can clarify that now.
I'm sorry, no building.
Will you get your microphone, so hang on a second.
This is a very important point. Sure everybody can hear me anyway.
This is.
This is a very important point, that we actually clarify what is meant by Eastward Ho, as Councillor Deakin has said. Because I have an email, as you have just said, from Councillor Bevan saying there will be no building on Eastward Ho. But as far as I can understand it, the council think that Eastward Ho is only the playing fields and is not the part that approaches the playing fields where the current changing rooms are. Now I think we need to have it quite clear tonight what the council, East Suffolk Council, regard as Eastward Ho. Because it also looks from the plans that are out there that there is a road going across it. It also appears that the Grove car park, or the car park for the playing fields, is disappearing as well. So where is the new car park going to be? And that is why people, I think, are very upset at the moment that we don't really know what you mean by Eastward Ho. Could you please clarify that quite clearly? Thank you.
Can we get this map up on the screen so we can actually designate what we're talking about in terms of Eastward Ho?
Sorry, could I just jump in? Eastward Ho is a massive green space.
That's right.
It is hedged.
That's what we're talking about.
It is hedged. Thanks.
It's hedged on two sides. It's forested on another side, which is the Grove. And I'd like to understand what you mean by grove protected. Because does that mean just saving the trees, or does it mean saving the natural habitat of the animals and vertebrates
The whole bit.
that's in there? And the fourth side is a fence, which is the fence line of the houses on Links Avenue. That is Eastward Ho. You're saying that you're not going to build houses on it, but you're building a school on it. And it looks like you've used about a third of it.
Huh?
Okay, can I answer? It is confusing about what is Eastward Ho. When I say there's no need for any houses on Eastward Ho, I'm not talking about the paddocks. What I'm talking about is the playing fields, and I said there's no need for a house to be built on the playing fields of Eastward Ho. And that is the big field that you've described with hedges around it. It'd be a lot easier if we had the map up here
It
so
would
that
be.
we know what we're talking about. I don't see any need for any houses on that playing field. I walk around there with local people and I can see what you mean about it.
You build a school on it.
Right, there is, this comes further down, if there is a need for a primary school, there's a possibility that corner of that playing field may be used for it. But that's not happening. So I said there's no need for a house there, that's what I've said, it's elemental housing.
Yes.
That's what we get.
Yeah.
So we're going to come on. So we're going to come on to the infrastructure and the schools bit. In terms of the boards are the iteration of the master plan. This is still a consultation. So some of the views that are expressed here tonight and have been expressed through about Eastward Ho,
Are still
about whether we need a school or whether we don't. They will sort of like be in the next stage, but these views are sort of like feeding into the development. So it has been heard, and there are some commitments that aren't reflected on this board yet. Because and Seamus pointed out some of those earlier on. And let Mike say one more thing about Eastward Ho, and then we might move on and just talk about infrastructure.
Yep. We're running out of time.
We'll just let Mike talk, and then we'll...
Yeah. just to be absolutely clear about this, the area that I knew and loved of Eastward Ho, part of it is now down to agricultural land. Is that land, are you including that land in your description of Eastward Ho? Because as I understand it, that's on the plan to be built on. As part of the
I'll
plan.
answer that, Mike.
So can you just
We need to map.
reiterate that you won't be building on that agricultural land?
Be it houses or other.
Right.
Whatever.
What I said, what I still say, is we will not build a house on the Eastward Ho playing fields, which is where the playing fields are. That does not include the paddocks. There may well be a corner, we'll come to it in a minute, where there's a primary school needed, and that's another thing. But in terms of housing, there will be no house built on the playing fields of Eastward Ho, which I think has been described. It would be a lot easier if we had a map up on this.
It would be. It would be.
And by the playing fields, that doesn't just mean the 4 pitches, it means the whole
The
green
park.
area that is around that as well. And the area you've described, sir, I mean,
What we're saying, Seamus, is it's going a third of it approximately shown on those plans are going to go into concrete.
oh, you mean the school?
Correct.
Possible.
So that is a more complex question. It's a possibility, but we're trying really hard for that not to happen. It doesn't have to be there. It may not even be needed, depending on how birth rates go, etc. We might have potential to develop other schools, Colneys, Kingsfleet, etc. So we're really not wanting to build on Eastward Ho. And what I would like to see, what I hope comes forward, is to enhance Eastward Ho, to allow the running club to use it more, to perhaps be a potential place for a pump track, for various other potential ways to allow more people to enjoy that space. No, we would not be.
No.
So, hang on.
We.
Yeah, so we're going to come on to infrastructure and in
The
conversation.
intention is that we will keep that space as accessible green space for the public.
Shall I just say to the people listening here, there is more than one person that's helping these plans along.
Yes.
We have all been working very hard, and we all have our own opinions.
So
So my concern is, I understand the very careful wording that you're using there on Eastward Ho and the playing fields, which is very careful. I understand that the paddock, as you view it, is fair game for developing houses on. Seeing the boards, and if you read all the small print in there, you've got something written about appropriate houses and to blend in with Cohen. And then I see 3-storey houses. Now my concern is that somewhere on that Eastward Ho bit, that isn't the playing fields that it's saying you're not going to build houses on, but you are going to build houses on. Are going to be 3-storey townhouses, but there are no 3-storey townhouses within at least a mile circumference of that part of the field set. So what I want is some sort of guarantee that when you do decide that you're going to build houses on Eastward Ho, they are not 3-storey townhouses like the combinations that are got down the road at Trelawney Place,
No.
or Lawrence Fields, or the other places like that.
Well, yeah.
So I think we've got a map now, and I think that point heard the consultation meetings as well. So I think that's a useful point. So in terms of the map, so the area we're referring to as Eastward Ho is the area circled in pink, purple, the paddocks in blue, the amenity green space in red, and then the grove in green. So that's the definition of the area. Okay. And so David's point is not building a house on the green space. And can we move on to infrastructure and talk about the school?
Yes.
Because I think that's... Okay, all right. So who said not yet and wanted to...
Yeah. I just wondered whether it had been investigated what the effect would be of having this building up on the hill and the runoff from the school, and what effect that would have, because if all of this, whatever you call it, agricultural land, which is natural land, which soaks up the water, and that water will stay there, that water table will be really affected. What about all these buildings on that hill, all the immediate runoff coming down, saturating that soil? what effect, have you looked into the effect that will have on the whole habitat as a whole? We have the wild garlic, will they just wash away? I don't know. There's the ditches, will they fill up? Has this all been looked into, and is there like a contingency plan? Or are you even looking into this? I'm really concerned about that. The whole wildlife, we know about all of this building, there'll be less homes for foxes, badgers, but this is stuff that is really concerning to me, and I wonder what you have to say about it.
So, what you just described is what happens for every single planning application. Without exception, it's always done.
Yes.
So that is a hill, quite a steep hill. It's runoff. Not every building situation is a steep hill with a really significant.
It's got to be downside out to be safe.
That is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, no, I understand. So literally every single planning application in the entire district has to have surface water drainage, has to have SUDS, it has to have ecological reports. All of that always happens at every single planning application, without exception.
And can I just there's a bit of a technical element to that question. So come and have a chat afterwards with James, who's the project manager, because I know there's an ecology report that we're just finalising a baseline ecology report that we'll share, and also I know there's been some work on drainage and SUDS.
Yes, there has.
Yeah, lady behind. No, just there to your
There's a lot of talk about green spaces, and I'd like to know, you've mentioned accessibility for running tracks, dog walking, whatever, but what about the wildlife? What is the impact of all this building around the grove on the animals, birds, plants that live there? What effects is it going to have on the wetlands going down to the river? And I've not seen, there is a board out there about environment, but it's the smallest board. And I'd like to know a bit more about it, please.
Thanks very much. We are very concerned about the ecology and the hydrology. So I think, as Chris has said, the hydrology report will take all this into consideration. And as you've seen, we are listening. If something comes back and it will say, that's an absolute no-no. The conversations that I've had, I can't tell you how many I've had about the natural springs that are down there, how they feed the grove, they keep those big trees going, feed all the wildlife. I really do I'm a thorn in their side about this, I can assure you. And there is an ecology report that does seem to be a bit slow coming out, but that will be out by the end of the year. And these things are going over and above what you might say for an ordinary housing development. So we do take it very seriously, I can assure you. And we'll do absolutely everything we can to mitigate anything at all. Because of course, we are building, and we have to build. But we are taking it all into consideration.